Am I the public?
I'm public.
You're public too?
Well, actually,
Okay.
even I am, so
Oh.
I could give a public comment.
Oh, okay. Well, I meant just
Yeah.
as our usual.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll basically we'll take a little recess and just relax for a few minutes and see if we can hear back from Mr. McAlister. But everyone will be given their 10 minutes of interview.
Okay. Cool beans. Ask him if he's cleaning snacks.
I think it sounds like he's working in the kitchen. Hey, I'm gonna leave you on speaker.
No.
So if you just wanna mute yourself up, and then you can hear the answers as we
I'm
move
up
through.
first, you're second.
All right.
I don't know what the other order.
All right, I've got Commissioner McAlister on. Commissioner, we've already called to order and taken public comment. We're going to give, even though the agenda has 15 minutes, there's no objection by the committee members. We're gonna give everyone 10 minutes like everyone else had at the previous interview. We'll take, we have the same questions for everyone. Don't feel like you have to answer exactly that question, but the question's a prompt for you to let us know what you want us to know about you. So I'll take the first one and we'll go in counterclockwise orders depending on where Commissioner McAlister sits when he gets here. I'll read his for him until he gets here because it's easier to hear. So first we have Bruce Moore. Bruce, briefly tell us why you are specifically interested in becoming a member of this committee. And this is Beta.
I'm particularly interested in Beta because I use Beta a lot. Well, I use it about once a month. And it's a key reason why we chose Traverse City, because we wanted to choose a city that had public transit. I've been a big public transit user in Dallas, used the train system extensively, and really saw how public transit transformed the development of the area. Because every time they put in a train station, within 3 years there are 600 apartments around that train station. I've also used both bus and train networks in New York, Washington, Boston, a number of areas. So I know how different jurisdictions handle payments, how they handle their interfaces to, at this point, Google Maps and other things that make transit easier to use, because it's not necessarily easy. I've also used it in a number of foreign countries where they have some different solutions to some of the same problems. And my background is in operations research, which is basically modeling for business problems. The specific optimization type problems in a bus system would be forecasting, forecasting demand, solving the optimization model of routing to figure out what routes will provide the best service at the lowest cost. There's also an optimization problem for crew scheduling. In a bus system, that's probably a lot less than it is in an airline system, but there is a crew scheduling to cover all of the routes with the minimum number of employees that you have. That's the big financial problem in the airline industry. And a bus network has some of those same kinds of problems. There's also an optimization problem for fleet assignment. Beta has, just looking at it, at least 2 or 3 different kinds of buses, and how they assign those buses to routes is a big driver of efficiency, especially in something with the seasonal nature that we have in terms of demands here. I also have experience in marketing, which is probably one of the biggest areas where I think Beta can improve, because there are a lot of fixed costs in running a bus network. The cost for the first passenger is pretty high. The cost for the second passenger is about this much. Kind of back to the original point. My my wife and I spend together about $6,000 on local transportation, between mileage on our car, $100 for the Beta millage, about $250 for the road commission millage. Coming soon, about $500 for a special assessment for the road right in front of our house. And one of the things in doing that cost analysis that I realized is that even though I only use Beta about once a month, that more than pays for the $100 that I spend on the millage. Because I avoid parking, and I avoid, which amounts to about $5 for every trip I come into town, and I avoid about $7.50 in mileage. So it actually, the best way that I can reduce my my total local transportation spending is actually to use Beta more. And I think that's a hidden savings for the people in our community that people just don't know about. So that's why I have a passion for public transportation, and why I think both my academic background and my business background suit Beta quite well.
Benny, your question?
Okay, well, in your opinion, what are the functions of the Beta board, and what strengths will you offer to build a balance of expertise on the board?
The function of the Beta board is governance. It is to make sure that the money is being spent prudently, that it's not being wasted, and it is to give guidance to the executive director on, have you looked at this problem? Have you considered this? It is not to micromanage the executive director. It's really a policy organization to bring skills to the table that and perspectives that the executive director may not have, or may be too overtaxed to pay attention to.
What business expertise have you acquired in your current and past employment that you think will provide benefit? This is nervous.
Beneficial.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
provide beneficial in providing. Yeah, no. Will be beneficial in providing guidance to this board.
Okay.
I can read financial statements. I worked at a credit union for a decade and was responsible for a data warehouse. We didn't produce the documents that went directly to the financial statements, but we did really all of the reporting for management accounting, not financial accounting, but for management accounting, of really understanding what's going on in the business. So we handled all of the accrual methods used for the management accounting of figuring out which loan products are doing well and which loan products aren't. I spent a lot of time, the latter part of my time with the credit union, on pricing models and optimization models for that. So I'm very comfortable reading financial statements and identifying problems and strengths. So in terms of oversight of a board, that's a real skill that is absolutely necessary in a board, and it's one that I have from my business background. I've already talked a little bit about my academic training and optimization modeling, and how those particular optimization models apply specifically to Beta and the kind of transportation network that Beta is running. Also, a career in IT, any kind of transportation process now, there's a lot of IT involved in terms of terminals on buses to handle payment and those kinds of authorization, communication networks, and interfaces to Google Maps and all of the other different applications that people use to make to make the bus system more usable, so that you don't have to memorize timetables and figure out the question, when is the bus actually gonna get here?
Have you attended any of this board's meetings in the past or done research regarding this board?
I have attended one meeting in person. I've reviewed a couple of other videos of meetings. The only other preparation I've done was to prepare a binder with and download all of the minutes. I've reviewed the founding documents for Beta and all of the different legal opinions for the current dispute. So I have done that preparation. I haven't on it, as you know, I go to a lot of public meetings. I haven't gone to any Beta meetings because honestly I haven't seen it as a dumpster fire, and didn't really, I thought there were higher priorities for where I should spend my time at public meetings.
Got about 2 minutes left. I just want to remark, regardless of the outcome of this, I'd love to have some more conversations with you on Beta. It sounds like you've done some research.
What's that?
I was talking to him.
Oh, I'm just making notes of everything that Bruce is saying, because I mean, it's like, how can you say no to this guy?
I know, he's a really good candidate.
Seriously.
Go ahead, Penny.
Okay, so what previous experience in serving on committees or in community activities will enhance your contribution to the board?
Prior to moving here, I served on the church council, which was, we worshipped about 600, $2 million budget. During the time my time on that council, we hired our pastor for 30 years retired, so we went through the hiring process for a new pastor, a new director of music, and a new director of youth activities. So we spent a lot of time going through the analysis of what kind of person do we want. And we did a pretty good job in looking back on it. Some of the advice that we got was not very good. One of the things that we were told is that we should fill the music position first, because an incoming pastor wouldn't want to have to get that program back on track. The problem with that is that in the tradition that we were in, that discouraged a lot of very qualified music directors, because they didn't want to come in thinking that it's going to be a very traditional service and then have a new pastor who wanted to go to an amplified music, a much more modern kind of service. So in retrospect, we probably would have sequenced those two differently, but all of the people that we hired stuck around for several years, and nobody was fired for cause. There were some people that left, but they weren't fired for cause. So I thought that was a really very successful process. I was also on the board and subsequently Commodore of the sailing club that I belonged to. That was about a $250,000 budget. The first day, after becoming the Commodore, my first reaction, what have I done? And immediately went through and did a review of all of the insurance policies. And I'm happy to report that no one drowned, and we didn't have any fires. And we survived 7 floods. The first three of which were truly awful, because this was a lake that flooded regularly, but 7 in 1 year is unusual, and there'd been a drought for about 7 years. So the first 3 floods brought down 7 years worth of dead trees and trash, and it was a monumental cleanup.
Bruce, we're about out of time. Any last thing you want us to know about you? In closing.
I think I'm well suited to the beta board, and this would actually be a lot of fun.
All right.
I would attack this very enthusiastically.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. We're going to jump right into Fern. Thank you for your patience, Fern. You've heard my spiel. You know how this goes.
Yeah.
We'll jump right into the questions. So,
Sure.
briefly tell us why you are specifically interested in becoming a member of this committee.
Because I have a great appreciation for public transit. Similar to what Bruce was saying, I've used public transit in every city I've ever lived in. I lived in Seattle without a car. I lived in Boston without a car and relied on their public transit to get me between work and my home and other points of interest and other things I had to do for life. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, and having to buy a car would have been burdensome. And I understand that that's a real burden for people who live in this community. I also studied transit-oriented development while I was getting my master's in urban and regional planning at Michigan State University. I had hands-on experience with that while doing overseas study with my MSU group. We traveled through Berlin, Belgrade, Serbia, and Lisbon, Portugal, to study their public transit system and how it applies to where people choose to live. I also appreciate the fact that we have a really vulnerable population in this group, in this community, and I've noticed comments on social media about people riding their bikes down 31 at night in dark clothing, and I can tell you that those people don't choose to ride their bikes along US 31 in dark clothing late at night. They probably don't have access to a car. So I feel like public transit and beta is necessary for those three reasons. I have a good understanding of it, and I would be a great board member because I understand it's an essential service.
Okay.
In your opinion, what are the functions of the board, and what strengths will you offer to build a balance of expertise on the board?
Thank you. So I've been looking over this book called the Nonprofit Board Answer Book, the 3rd edition, and there's 3 legal requirements of serving on a board such as this: the duty of care, where decisions are made on behalf of the organization. There's also a legal requirement of loyalty, where the beta board member would need to understand the organization of beta coming first, despite any of their values outside of serving on the beta board, and a duty of obedience, where beta would remain true to its mission of state and federal laws. And those are what I feel the beta board should use as a guiding principle.
What expertise have you acquired in your current or past employment that you think will be beneficial in providing guidance to this board?
This summer, I was an intern with MDOT, the Michigan Department of Transportation. I got my certification in statewide and metropolitan transportation programming, which included understanding our metropolitan planning organization and the metropolitan planning area that we're a part of now. It also, this training talked about fiscal responsibility and being fiscally constrained, and it talked about how funding from the federal level gets allocated and appropriated for public transportation. I think that training was excellent. I think that my hands-on experience with MDOT gave me a good appreciation for complete streets, and how, I don't know if you know that MDOT has a multimodal by 2045 initiative where they look at complete streets for all users. That would be vehicles, trucks, and bikes, pedestrians, and public transit. So that experience was really valuable to me.
Have you attended any of this board's meetings in the past or done research regarding this board?
Yes, I attended board meetings. I'm a local advisory committee member with Beta, and I've watched several of the videos of the meetings, and I have attended them. So I'm pretty knowledgeable about the board.
What's the committee you're
Oh,
on?
the local advisory committee.
This is what it's called?
LAC,
Okay.
yeah.
What's the committee about? I'm not familiar with it.
So we meet quarterly at the Beta office, and we discuss ways, best practices, like what we see that's going well with Beta, areas for improvement, and we just give a local user's perspective.
How many are on
This is a good question. Like 8 of us?
Penny?
Okay, what previous experience in serving on committees or in community activities will enhance your contribution to the board?
So I'm a Garfield Township Parks and Recreation Commission member. I'm the co-chair. So I understand our budget and how we need to stay in line with our annual budget, and our projects have to fit that for the next fiscal year. I've been a committee member for Parks and Rec for over 5 years. I've just recently been appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals, so I'm a ZBA member for Garfield Township too. I've been a deacon at my church in the past, which took a lot of organization and planning, and planned several events for them. And I also am an MSU Master Gardener volunteer. I'm in charge of all the planters downtown. We have 42 of them now, and I work with a team. We manage an annual budget. We do all the ordering. We put together a Gantt chart, which has a schedule for getting together and planning, and I think we do a really good job.
Is that a volunteer position?
It is.
Thank you for doing that. It's beautiful.
You're really welcome. It's a lot of work.
I grew up in a flower shop. I know.
Okay. So yeah, I'm organized, and I love being part of a process. I love a good project. I like to start it. I like to finish it. And I also collaborate with other organizations. Like I reached out to E-Trans in preparation for this interview. That's the Eaton County Transportation Authority, and also Clinton County's Blue Bus. And I asked them questions about how they choose their board. And their boards are all appointed by the county commission because they want to be fiscally responsible. But to my surprise, none of their county commissioners serve on the board. There's one that oversees it for the Blue Bus of Clinton County, is my understanding. But all the other people are appointed outside of the commission.
Are you a year-round resident, and can you commit to attending monthly meetings and additional time for special committees or projects?
Yes, I live not too far away.
And how would you seek views and opinions from staff and or the community on topics being addressed by this board?
Very open-minded. I believe in dialogue. I actually think that when people dissent, it's a good thing, but I also feel that it's really, really important to have a mix of different opinions. You gotta have people from all different sides, and they need to represent really get a wide net of people to share their thoughts and opinions. I'm a taxpayer. I'm very fiscally responsible. That's really important to me. But as I said in the beginning of this interview, I also have strong feelings about vulnerable users, and we have to take care of people in our community.
Time for one more, Penny.
Sure, okay. Do you have any personal or professional connections with members of the county commission or business ties with the county government or individual county commissioners you feel you should disclose?
No business ties.
Okay.
And no, I would say I do
I'm not sure why we have that question, but it's a question.
It's one of those if we get to it questions.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's our last question, and that was exactly 10 minutes. Any last minute, anything you want us to know about you?
I wanted to make sure that you were aware that I'm on the local advisory committee for, Beta, and that I have a strong background in complete streets study. It's an area of interest for me from Michigan State University's Master in Urban and Regional Planning, which, is why I take a really strong interest in public transit.
All right. Well, thank you very much for it.
Thank you.
Next one is Justin, if you want to, you can dial him up. Hello, Justin. This is Rob Henschel. We're doing our interviews. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. So we've got a room full of interviewees and public. Commissioner Morris is here with me, and Commissioner McAlister is on speakerphone with me. He's en route. So we're going to work through our questions with you, sir, and just answer the best you can. Feel free to add anything in. It's not a strictly answer this question. Just tell us whatever you want us to know about you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, so the first question is, briefly tell us why you are specifically interested in becoming a member of this committee.
Yeah, and so first off, I appreciate the opportunity. I live over by two Beta stops, which is the Books A Million stop and the Grand Traverse Crossing Circle stop. And anyways, you know, I'm young. I'm 23, but public transportation is something that people my age, young adults, are certainly getting more and more, you know, they rely more and more on it. And, you know, I just think that with that certainly being the case, you know, my perspective could be valued on that board, and I'd be more than happy to give that perspective.
Okay. Penny, your question.
Yes, in your opinion, what are the functions of the Beta Board, and what strengths will you offer to build a balance of expertise on the board?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Commissioner Morris. And so the crux of to my understanding anyways, the purpose of the Beta Board is really delegated in Act, I think it's 196 of 1986, the Public Acts of the State of Michigan. And instead of getting into the crux of it, the gist of it is that the Beta Board makes rules and bylaws for the Beta government. And if I have any other questions or concerns or need any clarification, I do know where to reference that material.
Thank you.
All right. What business expertise have you acquired in your current and past employment that you think will be beneficial in providing guidance to this board?
Great question, and I appreciate that also. So right now I'm a tax associate. I prepare taxes at a nonprofit, and I'm also a student pilot at NMC. And whether it's numbers or pressures or altitudes, one thing that I've come to appreciate is the fine details. And I've applied that in some of my other board experiences that I'm on, with one of them being addiction treatment services. Whether it be the necessity for a boiler for one of our rehab facilities or detox centers, or trying to weigh the pros and cons of increasing staff, or meeting a census that NMRE has set for our beds and heads and beds in order for us to get funding. I think attention to detail is certainly important, and that's one of the strong suits that in my professional life that I think I would bring to the board.
Have you attended any of this board's meetings in the past or done research regarding this board?
Yes, sir, to both.
Penny?
What previous experience in serving on committees or in community activities will enhance your contribution to the board?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, Commissioner Morris. And again, I'll piggyback on my previous comment, which was, you know, I currently serve on a nonprofit board, which is Addiction Treatment Services off of Garfield. And just understanding the give and takes of an organization, knowing that I'm one voice, but ultimately we serve the one purpose. I think having that mindset is certainly important for that board and other boards also, including the beta board. And I really think that that would be a valued skill set with this board.
Are you a year-round resident, and can you commit to attending monthly meetings and additional time for special committees or projects?
Yes, sir.
How would you seek views and opinions from staff and or the community on topics being addressed by this board?
Great question. So, you know, I always lean back on or refer back to one of my favorite quotes that my mom always told me, which is, you know, God gave me one mouth and 2 ears, and that's really to listen. You know, it's a community transportation system, and it has to serve the people. And the best way for me to do that, or to make sure that Beta follows that guiding principle, is to listen to its constituents. So I'm an active listener, and that's certainly how I would go about it.
Do you have any personal or professional connections with members of the county commission or business ties with the county government or individual county commissioners you feel you should disclose?
Yes, ma'am. I've got very good personal friendships with many of the commissioners.
Very good. I had a cigar with Justin on Friday. So
That's true.
At Nolan's. And several other people. All right. I think that was the last question, Justin.
Perfect.
Anything else about you want us to know?
You know what? I'm going to plead the fifth and reserve the balance of my time and yield it to the next qualified interviewee. So I appreciate your time, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Justin. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, next we have William Ballinger. Is this William?
Yes.
He's heading this way.
All right.
We're a little ahead of schedule, but why not?
Pick an open spot.
Yeah, anywhere you like is fine. We've got Commissioner McAlister is listening remotely as he's en route from Interlaken. So we give everybody about 10 minutes to answer the questions.
Okay.
Don't feel like you have to answer the question perfectly, just the important part is to tell us what you want us to know about you.
Okay.
So the questions are more of a prompt, if you will.
Okay.
First, I'm sorry, I'm Rob Henschel,
Rob,
County
nice to meet
Commissioner, Chair of the committee, Commissioner Morris. Briefly tell us why you are specifically interested in becoming a member of this committee.
I've often thought about applying to be on a committee, and I lived in Fife Lake previously. I now reside in Traverse City, and with work schedules and other aspects of my life, it was never a good time. And now I feel is the best time to do it. I have the time to commit to it. And I like, believe it or not, I like business meetings. You can accomplish a lot. So I've sat in numerous business meetings before, not these particular, but I just feel it's the right time in my life to do it.
Commissioner Morris?
In your opinion, what are the functions of the Beta Board, and what strengths will you offer to build a balance of expertise on the board?
I believe, in my opinion, the Beta Board is, pardon the expression, the head. They set forth the rules, policies, guidelines, so that, I'm gonna call them the frontline workers. The frontline workers can focus on what they need to do, drive the buses, supervise the drivers, manage their individual stations overall.
What business expertise have you acquired in your current or past employment that you think will be beneficial in providing guidance to this board?
I have had numerous jobs, mostly in the public sector, customer service related. So I have dealt with a plethora of different individuals, and we all have our own biases, be it, age, gender, racial biases. We all have them. We may not know we have them. So I have become adept at recognizing if you have a bias and helping you work through those biases through managerial duties.
Have you attended any of this board's meetings in the past or done research regarding this board?
I have not.
Commissioner Morris?
What previous experience in serving on committees or in community activities will enhance your contribution to the board?
I am a member of the Masonic fraternity. I'm a Freemason. I'm also a Shriner. I am also a member of a couple of the Masonic appendant bodies, and to date, since 2010, I have been a part of or led over 500 business meetings. And that again plays into dealing with a wide range of people, from 13-year-old youth to 60, 70-year-old people who may be set in their ways with their biases and not be open to new ways of doing things. So I have quite a few business meetings under my belt. I ran business meetings for over a year, sometimes 5 times a month. So if it wasn't apparent before, after 500 meetings, I like business meetings. A lot can be accomplished.
Is that to say you're familiar with parliamentary procedure and Robert's rules?
Yes.
Or- okay.
Yep.
All right. Are you a year-round resident, and can you commit to attending monthly meetings and additional time for special meetings or projects?
Yes. I live off of Lafreniere, and I've already confirmed with my current supervisor that anytime I need off, if given a position on the board, he will give me time off from work for those meetings.
How will you seek views and opinions from staff and or the community on topics being addressed by this board?
You have to take everything with an open mind. If you're closed mind towards anything, then nothing can be accomplished. We as humans accomplish more working together than by yourselves. And that again goes back to biases. Everybody has a bias of some sort. You may not know it, and you have to be able to work with different viewpoints to accomplish the goal at hand.
Commissioner Morris?
Do you have any personal or professional connections with members of the county commission or business ties with the county government or individual county commissioners you feel you should disclose?
I have no business ties. I know Scott Seifert. It's not a personal connection. We would probably recognize each other, but he used to be one of my security officers when I was in charge of security here at Circuit Court and District Court. Other than that, Scott is the only one.
All right, that's the end of our questions. Is there anything you'd like to add? Anything you want us to know about you?
I currently drive for Pace North, so I kind of have firsthand experience, even though we don't deal with the same clientele as beta drivers do, but I am on the road just as much as beta drivers. I see them all day long. I've gotten to visually know a couple of them. We wave, so I kind of know what they're going through on a day-to-day basis. My roommate used to be a dispatcher here for Grand Traverse County, and she's told me some stories about what the drivers go through, people not wanting to pay fares and so on. So I don't know that aspect of it, but being on the road, dealing with traffic, I feel like I can relate to the drivers and be a strong advocate for them.
All right, that's all we have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and I apologize, but I must return to work.
That's fine. We're gonna take a little recess here. I think we got a couple minutes. Yep, we've got the next one at 2 o'clock, so we'll take about 16, 17-minute break unless,
Sarah is here.
oh, Sarah. Oh, do you wanna, let's do Sarah.
Thank you.
You don't have to.
No,
I'm
let's do
not
it.
in a hurry.
All right. Whenever you're ready, Brad. Is there any that's on the list?
Nope, that was it. Peter Brad would be the last person.
Welcome. Here.
So,
All of the interviewees have elected to just be in the room today.
Okay, that's fine.
All So you have, welcome, you've done these, you've interviewed people, so welcome to the other side of the table. You can let us know what it's like later. But as you know, we've got a list of questions we'll go through. We'll take turns asking them. Don't feel like you have to stick strictly to the question. Just let us know what you want us to know about you and your service. So number one is briefly tell us why you are specifically interested in becoming a member of this committee.
Well, currently I do serve as a commissioner on the Beta board and have for 5 years and everything, and definitely have an interest in it. I've been an effective member of the board and everything, and I'd like to continue on, but as a citizen role.
Okay. So we're gonna go clockwise. So Commissioner Morris, and then
Skipping me?
you'll be number 3.
Because I'm late, thanks.
Well, I've been covering you.
And you didn't bring snacks.
Oh, that's
I
right.
mean, you just left the kitchen, did
If
not
you're
bring
late, you have to be
snacks.
snacks.
All right, what are the functions of this board, and what strengths do you offer to build a balance of expertise on the board?
I think first of all, my strengths on the board are the fact that, you know, it is a business, even though it's a public sector type thing. I'm a business owner. I know how things run, numbers should work and everything like that. So I think that's a huge asset when we're looking at major purchases, capital improvements, budgets, you know, salaries, wages, everything like that and stuff like that. But, what was the first part of the question? I should know, but.
What are the functions of the board?
Well, the function of the board is to set the budget and policy and everything for Beta as a whole and everything, so.
What business expertise have you acquired in your current or past employment that you think will provide beneficial in providing guidance to this board?
I think I just kind of touched on it, but my wife and I have been in business for over 20 years and everything, and I think bringing up a business perspective to it and everything, like I said, it helps one understand, you know, budgets and expenses and numbers and everything like that, and everything understands how relationship with employees and everything are vital and everything too.
Have you attended, this is silly, but have you attended, you can answer this however you like. Feel free to improvise. Have you attended any of this board's meetings in the past or done research regarding the board?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I did miss a couple meetings this last year just 'cause I've been working on a big project out west there, but other than that, yeah, for the last 5 years, I can usually count on one hand total how many meetings I've ever missed, but that was just because of other obligations, and sometimes it was board commitments here that I had to choose, and it was either this board or that board and everything, so.
Ready?
Again, silly. What previous experience in serving on committees or in community activities will enhance your contribution to this board?
Well, since I've been on the Board of Commissioners, I've served on 5 different boards. I've served on EMPT, LEPC, Central Dispatch, TTCI, and Beta and everything. So 5 years experience serving on 5 different boards, plus the actual Board of Commissioners itself and everything, so.
Any that we might not know about from before that?
Well, I mean, I've served on various boards at churches and everything with, like sportsmen's banquets and stuff like that and different things. I've helped out on, well, I was actually on the Livestock Council board there for a couple of years and everything out at the fairgrounds. I was vice chair of that one also and everything, vice president actually they called it at the time. So yeah, I do have quite a bit of experience serving on various boards.
Are you a year-round resident? Can you commit to meeting monthly and any special things besides that since you're so busy?
Yeah, I'm a year-round resident and have been all my life. I grew up in music and currently live in Traverse City and have since 1994 and everything.
How would you seek views and opinions from staff and or the community on topics being addressed by this board?
Well, there's numerous ways to seek input and everything like that. One is through the staff there themselves. One is just through the community input, talking to people, online research and everything. It depends really what the topic is. You know, I've looked quite a bit at public transportation as a whole throughout the country and everything, and look at different models and see what works and what doesn't and everything.
Do you have any personal or professional connections with members of the county commission or business ties with the county government or individual county commissioners that you feel you should disclose?
Well, I mean, I am a county commissioner currently, so wouldn't necessarily, I mean, to me, that's business tie, that's not personal and stuff like that, cause I don't hang out with you guys and do stuff like that. I mean, so, I mean, I look at it as, you know, friends are friends, business, so I consider that business and everything, but, I am a county commissioner, I do work with all the county commissioners right now and everything, so, yeah, I mean, it's well known, but I am making that known by stating that, so.
All right, that's all the questions. Got a little time left on the clock. Anything you want to add? Anything we should know about you as the candidate for the citizen appointment?
No, like I mentioned earlier, you know, it's, I have, because of all the number of boards I've sat on, I have thought about stepping down as a commissioner, but I do want to continue to serve, so, when this role came up for a constituent and everything like that, then I thought that would be a wise thing to do, and, you know, I just think even though there's gonna be a lot of same responsibilities, it's gonna change the dynamics a little bit and everything in regards to how I report and everything like that to the board. It won't be me reporting to the board anymore and stuff like that, so.
That's all we have.
Perfect.
Thanks for your time.
Still got 10 minutes left too.
Well, 5, actually. I give everyone 10 minutes.
We're
'Cause that's what-
overachievers.
That's what the other interviewees before had 10, so I kept it to 10.
Okay,
It's fair.
cool. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Additional public comment at the end of this meeting, or is it just the one at the beginning?
We typically do. Do we have an agenda other than this?
Yes, yeah. I
Okay.
Just the agenda was so interviews and that, so yes, I apologize. I did have one of them printed off, but.
That's okay, I have it on my cell phone, I pulled it up. So, yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
I think I have the one you sent us as well. Let me check that, make sure I'm not missing anything. that was
No,
on the
it was
agenda.
just the interviews, second, public comment and adjournment are what was the last.
Give me a second. Oh, I see, yeah, there's a few ones. So the interviews, there are no more applicants. We've interviewed everybody. This is our second meeting. Tough choices. I always wish, like, boy, I wish I had 3 spots to fill.
I know, right?
Be easier.
Bruce Moore really impressed me. That was a good interview. Fern with her DOT internship, you know, that's a unique thing. Justin being a young person, 23 years old, getting involved in local government, that's good to see. We don't see too much of that. William is in a place in his life where this is a good time to get involved. His customer service and awareness of bias. Sarah with working with vulnerable populations and people that really need this. There's debate about whether it's an essential service. It is essential to some people. I know that. I know. Like at Grand Traverse Industries, beta is very important for a lot of people that work there that otherwise may not be able to have that opportunity. So, and then Commissioner Jewett having 5+ years. And just thinking out loud the logistics of Commissioner Jewett, if he either didn't run this year or wasn't reelected with a citizen appointment, he would still be on for a couple more years of beta, which usually that brings stability to an organization when your board members are around a little longer versus shorter terms. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is, go ahead and get that elephant out of the room and just say it's not unprecedented, because if I recall correctly, Elisa Korn was the citizen appointee to the Parks Board at the time Christine Max Bauer was the commissioner. Now, I'm not throwing my thoughts anyway towards that, I'm just saying it's precedent, it's been done. I'm not real sure that I wanna, create a ruckus, and I think that one of the reasons that I feel fortunate to be part of this ad hoc committee is because I don't have any irons in that fire. I'm not, I don't have any emotional attachments one way or another. so I'm just gonna be completely open-minded on all of it, so.
Yeah, well, on the item of dispute, whether a commissioner can serve as a citizen appointment, I think of the airport authority, which we're together with Leland on the airport authority. There are no commissioner appointments, and yet there are 3 county commissioners on the airport authority, 1 from Leland, 2 from Grand Traverse. It's, I feel like the flag that's been thrown on this topic is really out of place, especially when the lawyer that drew up this interlocal agreement is the one who told me we could do it, according to the agreement. Now, I understand maybe some people didn't realize it when they voted for it, but at the end of the day, when you sign a lease on something, it doesn't matter what you thought it was in the writing. What's in the contract is what's in the writing, and it's so I guess when I look at that, it really doesn't have a bearing against appointing a county commissioner to that board as a citizen. On the other hand, I don't know, it's almost a nudge towards that direction, because this is something that's got to be settled sooner or later. But that's not, I mean, I'm not saying to do it to trigger a conflict, but.
You know me, I'm always trying to avoid conflict if possible.
I will say, out of all the interviewees, when we asked what are the functions of this board, nobody said appointing members of that board.
It sure seems like to me everybody's qualified and has a good spot for it. Bruce is at all the meetings, Bruce got experience, Justin interviewed very well. I mean, there's not a bad one of the bunch, really. I think I'm all.
Right. Let's recommend them all.
That's right.
Expand
That's
the
just
How
me.
big you want this board?
Well, there's not one there that's not qualified for what we're doing.
Yeah, and a lot of various different strong points. Each person has their own strong points.
And everybody's got like such a different piece of the pie to offer. It's like, we want you all to be one big new board.
So are we choosing a person right now, or 2 people, or what are we doing?
One person.
One person to recommend?
We've got 3 people and 1 slot to fill. I'm sorry, 6 people and 1 slot to fill.
Okay.
So, has a decision been made for Scott to take the commissioner spot on the board, or is that still wiggly?
I mean, it's really up to the chair to recommend the commissioner who fills the commissioner spot. I've tipped my hand already because he volunteered that, but if another commissioner was to step up and say, wait, I want it, no, I got a decision to make, so, no.
Well, okay.
We talked, we were quite open about this. There's no hidden agenda here that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was clear.
That if Brad were to get the citizen appointment, I would appoint Scott, because he brings what I consider an underrepresented geography, and he's a bus professional. He works in buses, kind of like Mr. Valencourt does, but he's from Kingsley. I don't know how many people from Kingsley I've heard talk about beta buses, and sometimes good, but probably 2 out of 3 is grumbling about something. So maybe they need some representation out there. That was my thought.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
And that's why, like Scott, he grumbled to me about road commission. I said, right, you're our liaison to the road commission. Get out there and do
Okay,
something.
so when's our next appointment after this? Cause you know me, I'm like, big
So,
picture, what's next?
Everybody has
So-
been interviewed, so there's no reason to hold another committee meeting.
No.
Are you
That's
talking
not
about
what
the
I'm
Beta
asking.
board?
Beta?
The
Just
next
this
person.
December 24th.
Okay, so
Yeah,
there is
at the end
another
of the year.
appointment coming up, so anyone,
Yes, if,
okay,
we can't appoint all of you, but I hope you come around next year if you don't get appointed.
right, so, okay. My thought is, why not leave Brad where he is and appoint a citizen? I think that would make everybody happy for the moment, not that I wanna run from a fight, but why have one if you can't just sit down and talk and work things out instead of, having a big ruckus? That's a southern word. Brouhaha is another one.
Well, the first idea was to have Scott, interview for a citizen appointment.
Would that have caused the same ruckus?
No, it's geographically, he doesn't live in the MPO,
Okay.
so,
Alright,
It would-
so that's geography.
so he wouldn't be eligible, and for the citizen appointment, but he is for this, the commissioner.
Well, maybe Scott could get the road commission straightened out and then think about this.
Well, that was another reason, is bring more, Joe Underwood currently serves on Beta, and he's the chair of the road commission. It's been said that at some point, that could be a conflict of interest. Our attorney tells us it's not at this time, but it has the potential to become, at which point we'd have, Joe would have a decision to make. So, having Scott on there would give a connection with the road commission, bus stops, every time where there's a bus stop, we need a curb cut. Well, the road commission has to approve that. So having people talking is a good thing.
My thought is, why aren't they now? But that's just me.
Well,
Say
I
that in a
mean-
little voice.
Yeah, people do, they are talking. Currently, that is the thing, and that's why I mentioned it.
Okay,
Because prior to Joe being on there, it wasn't a priority for the road commission to put curb cuts at stops. Now it is, because Joe is the chair of the road commission and he sits on the Beta, they get talking, they find out, where are your mutual interests. So I guess that's, I'm still at that, and I see really good qualifications, good interviews, but I'm just, for that interconnectedness, I'm still at, putting Brad as the citizen appointment. So, I guess the heat's on you, Brian.
Well, if you look experience, I would say he's the most experienced for what's going on. That's the case if I'm looking at, resumes. He's got 5 years experience, and I think it's good. I don't know about the fight part of it, because I'm not really part of it. If I were going to not listen to all the other stuff, that's what I would have chosen out of the interviews, but I like them all, actually.
There's something I liked about everybody.
well, I would say that, for a lot of reasons, if we're strictly talking citizen appointee, Bruce impressed me the most. And second would be Justin with, a young person's perspective, willing to step up and be part of and I think we should be targeting more young people.
Yeah. Justin, does he serve on something already?
Yes. I'm trying to think if he was just.
I've
No,
seen
he
him.
wasn't actually. He just interviewed, but I don't believe he was appointed. Looking through my list here
So I
really.
remember interviewing him.
Is that like on citizens abuse or something like that?
No, I think he interviewed for Parks
He interviewed for airport.
and
That's right,
Airport.
Airport.
Yes,
Airport.
But we reappointed the incumbent on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hospital finance. He was appointed to hospital finance.
Okay, so he's on that, which hasn't been in a decade.
Correct.
Okay.
So we haven't really given him something to do.
Yes.
Well, by the rules we changed at the last meeting, everybody gets up to 2.
Right.
It used to be 3. But, if the board has a compelling reason, they can do more than that too. Well,
Oh, that's right, we can have rules except when we don't.
yep, they're
Okay,
guidelines.
got it. Got
And
it.
Jack Sparrow.
And that's the way I like to live my life. Just ask my husband.
This is about the meeting.
Thanks, Vern.
Thanks, Vern.
Thanks, Vern. Who's the
Well,
one that,
can I give any input here or not?
we'll have, public comment at the end here.
Okay.
I don't wanna set a precedent, cause then everyone will wanna talk.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that Mr. Villancourt, I don't think this is quite right for him. I feel like we should maybe encourage him to do something, but this
Yeah.
doesn't seem like,
Yeah. It's great when it's get a foot in, like a toe in.
yeah,
And sometimes they have uncontested, like Northern Lakes, it's like, nobody wants to be on that. And if you got an interview round as like the only person, that's where he's gonna get his start, but he'll probably do great,
mm.
you know. I thought Sarah Bai would be great on Northern Lakes.
What do you mean, nobody wants to be on Northern Lakes?
Well, sometimes we get a handful, but
Yeah.
flip a coin, sometimes it's like the only person, it was like that with Park System around.
Yeah, I was kinda surprised by that, actually.
Me too, usually Parks is like,
Everybody wants parks.
well, Parks, we had last year.
Parks are fun.
Yeah. Alright, somebody wanna make a motion?
I'd make a motion to accept Brad, unless, wanna do something else.
I'll second that, still on feelings, it's tight of the race, it's a tight race, but that's my thought.
Are we really there yet, though?
Well, we're in discussion now, we can talk all day.
Cause you're not gonna get a unanimous motion on that.
So what do you recommend?
I'm still waffling.
Well, we're waffling, figure out what you want.
Where do you wanna eat, honey? I don't know.
I say the hot brow's pretty easy decision.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. I didn't bring snacks today.
That's tomorrow.
We already covered that.
Not cause I didn't want to.
Well, good arguments to
We
make.
can't, I know, we can't really ask any more questions because not everybody in the
Wouldn't be
middle would
fair.
get the same questions.
I'm a stickler for that fair thing.
Okay.
Everybody had their 10 minutes.
Okay. I really like you as a candidate. I think you'd be better more in a human, like more the humanities sort of boards. And I'm between Bruce and Justin. I think Bruce edges Justin out in experience. And Justin has that fresh perspective.
He's so Pollyanna. He's just optimistic.
I know. Yep. But transparency, I've seen him work on the executive committee of the Republican Party, and I've seen him stand up and say, y'all are being ridiculous, you know, when he was outvoted. He doesn't back down from, you know, a fight if there's a issue that he really believes in. He doesn't let himself be pressured into groupthink, and I like that about him. And also, to be fair, when he didn't get airport, I think this was the second time he interviewed for airport. I said, you ought to, I just threw it out there, you ought to apply for bank, you know.
Something else transportation related, right?
So, yeah, I don't know, man.
Wheels instead of wings.
Well, I saw him at Nolan's Friday. He's very gracious. I mean, we didn't talk shop much.
Yeah.
I mean, this shop, we talked
Yeah.
bigger politics, but,
You
but
guys
he
can
did,
have
you know,
that.
his comment was, just pick the best person. If it's not me, that's fine.
Yeah,
He's gonna keep interviewing over time and, you know, participate.
I think there's a lot of great things that he's gonna do.
Well, someone's disappointed no matter what we do. That's the fun of ad hoc appointment committees. You always have to say no to 5 people and pick one. It's not easy.
I know.
So who did you come up with? Are you still waffling?
But
I'm just checking.
made it down to 2, what do you want?
It's pretty good.
Alright, well, we need to vote, so is there anything else to say on this motion? It doesn't have to be unanimous. Usually we like to, but if you don't agree, you don't agree. That's alright.
I'm not gonna agree.
Alright.
Are you gonna pick one?
There's already a motion on the floor.
No, but I can debate. I can withdraw my motion. I'd have a conversation. That's why I'm here.
I'm gonna look at my notes.
Should we take a recess and
You guys
go to the
go.
library and do research?
It's not a bad idea.
I'm gonna behave with professional decorum right now.
Alright. Someone's got it.
Right?
Ready to vote? Or do you have something else to add?
Are you asking for me to add?
No, I'm just.
Okay, I'm
I
trying to
don't
follow
wanna-
Robert's rules here. There's already a motion on the floor in a
Yes.
second.
Yes, so you can vote it up or down. And,
Or I can withdraw it. I'll have a
well, technically,
conversation. I just,
technically, it's already on the floor.
that was a
On the
mistake.
floor, so it's not.
It's not what I meant. Lisa, you would do a roll call vote for us.
Mitchell,
I vote yes.
McAlister,
Yes.
and Morris.
No.
Alright, so the committee, by a majority, is recommended to the main board, Brad Jewett. Now, this is gonna be debated up and down the aisle tomorrow.
I guess I'm
You
down
got
for
time
it.
to think of your arguments and, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You don't have to agree with me, I still like you.
Yeah, that's all right.
Alright, now we'll have second public comment. Try to keep it to 3 minutes, I'm not watching the clock real close, but Mr. Cochran?
Yes. One of the things that we lost when Joe Wonderwood replaced Linda Joppich was user. Linda's daughter with special needs was beta to get back and forth work at Concatenated Insurance. Linda often rode with her, gave us a lot of feedback from riders, drivers, just wonderful. You have 2 people here that are users of the service. That would be a great addition. Brad does not use the service. And that's what we need. We need insight into what is going on the road. We're totally blind now. And you know as well as I do, when we negotiated that interlocal agreement, and this is why your attorney has recused himself, it was 1 commissioner. We have red line documents, item 3, item 7, where you tried to put 2, you tried to make it plural. both those were struck down. Your attorney is aware of that, our attorney. So, there's no two commissioners on the board. So there will be an issue with that. I think Bruce is hands down, and I think that's what you should recommend to the rest of the board. And you want to talk about bobbleheads that you call Bob Fudge. If everybody just votes along party lines, Rob, isn't that a bobblehead? They don't really look at who's totally qualified and is bringing so much experience to this board. I think that's just sad. Sad. I don't know what the end game is here, but you know, I'm not going to back down. What's going on is wrong. We were never a political issue at all until you two. And you know it as well as I do. And I sent a letter out to both boards, all the commissioners, Record Eagle, the ticker, and outlined the whole thing. And enough is enough. Just honor what you said you were gonna do. You said one commissioner. Your attorney isn't even gonna step in on this because he knows that's what he negotiated. Honor it. Show some decency. And I mean, Bruce, you're slam dunk. Sarah, your user, I mean, that's what we need. We need people that are truly in connection with the users, with the drivers, with the people. So, that's all I got to say.
Thanks, Richard. Mr. The Commissioner,
Me?
we don't respond to public comment, have a conversation after the meeting, but for public comment, we don't respond.
Second public comment. There's two things that are very apparent to me here. I would have said Mr. Jewett has been on the board long enough. And there's things about Beta that I think many of us would like to see improved. And he's been the status quo, and I think it might not be a bad idea to have new blood and experienced new blood with more of a larger view. And certainly Fern, certainly Bruce, certainly Sarah would have been people that could do that. So I do not understand why you're going with Jewett. The second thing is, you realize this is going to, if the board goes with your recommendations, there's going to be a legal fight here, and you're going to throw taxpayer money around. And you know, I'm the spending Democrat as always. That's what I get blamed to be. But oh, there's sometimes you just wanted to go ahead and say, "Are you serious?" So I'm commenting that I think you're going to be throwing taxpayer money away for not the best candidate that you could have put in there. So that is my comment, and see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Linda. Anybody else? If not, we're adjourned.
I
Oh,
would
go
like
ahead.
to say something.
Sure, go ahead.
So, I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about the status of the board at the moment. But if you don't have someone on the board that speaks for the people, that is the reason I came. And I personally drove Miss Jopik to work every day. It makes me sad if this is a political issue, because there are people out there that really, really, really need this to function to the best of its ability. I agree that everybody who interviewed, when I read their resumes, I thought there's no way I was gonna get in. But I'll be back, and I hope that down the road you do find another Mrs. Jopik or myself. No offense to Bruce, but I think I bring a lot more to the table from the ridership perspective. I listened to them for a whole year in the bus, and I was in the circumstance that they were referring to. There's a lot of value to folks like me who will just be quiet and listen, and then tell you what it feels like. I don't think it should be a political issue. I wasn't aware of the fact that it was.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Sorry, Kenny, you have someone?
Very interested because I work with folks on a daily basis who ride Beta, and Beta has to come up in conversation 10 times a day for me at least. So I have a lot of love and passion for Beta. My children ride Beta to school every day, and yeah, I love Beta.
Okay, so in your opinion, what are the functions of the Beta board and what strengths do you offer to build a balance of expertise?
Well, it's oversight, and I hope that if you choose me to be on the board that I can give a different perspective, and that would be the perspective from the ridership and the employees a little bit, because I did work for Beta for a year. So I do know what it is like to drive for Beta. I love Beta, great relationships with the drivers, the administration, but I definitely know what it feels like to drive a Beta bus, and I have beautiful relationships with Beta riders. I know what they have to say about Beta, and then I have my current clients are Beta riders. Yeah.
What business expertise have you acquired in your current or past employment that you think will be beneficial in providing guidance to this board?
Well, I owned my own furniture store for 20 years, so I also know how to read financials, and I was on the board for the Traverse City downtown. I was on that board when I had a business downtown, and my business was in downtown Traverse City, not for all 20 years, but so business is not my passion. Social work is my passion, but I do know how to run a business and read a financial statement and everything. Then I've done a few years working for churches, so the community service, the importance of being part of community, being part of your local community, peaceful relationships with those you live around. But definitely the time at Beta taught me a lot about how to be a good Beta board member, I think. And then, like I said, currently I work for Goodwill and work with clients who ride Beta.
Have you attended any of this board's meetings in the past or done research regarding this board?
I have not, outside of while I was an employee of Beta. Of course, news from the board meetings was delivered to us at the community meetings. That's the extent.
Penny?
So what previous experience in serving on committees or in community activities will enhance your contribution?
So I've been on a number of committees. I was on the Women's Resource Board, I was on the DTCA board, a Rotary secretary, sort of like the fellow before me. Oddly enough, I enjoy meetings because I thought he worded it well. A lot of good things can happen if everyone collaborates together and listens and waits to hear the truth.
What kind of work do you do?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You've mentioned a couple times, but.
Yes, so I work for Goodwill of Northern Michigan, and I'm a housing-based case manager. So when folks go from homelessness into housing, my job is to help them remain housed. So they're the most vulnerable, and they ride the bus, and they need it really badly.
Gotcha.
You and I gotta talk sometime.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was thinking. Are you a year-round resident, and can you commit to attending monthly meetings and additional time for special committees or projects?
I am, and I will.
And how would you seek views and opinions from staff and/or the community on topics being addressed by this board?
Well, as I mentioned, because of working for Beta, I have friendships there, I have relationships there, and I talk to everyone in my life about Beta. So I'm definitely, it's a subject that I choose to bring up often because I'm passionate about Beta. So I'll definitely listen to people's opinions, and I love to share views. I love to talk about what other people feel and experience, and
So do you have any personal or professional connections with members of the county commission or business ties with the county government or individual county commissioners you should disclose?
I am a casual friend with Ashley Walters. I wish I were a closer friend to her, but I'm a casual friend.
that's all of our questions. Do you have anything you want to add?
No.
All right, thank you, Sarah. All right, now we're gonna take a little break, wait for the next person to show up. All right.